So studying for my LMSW exam, I'm definitely a person who does not like to study at home. And if I am studying at home, it's for a short amount of time and it's usually just for review. But I spend a lot of time studying in coffee shops, Starbucks, and the likes. But right now I'm headed to a coffee shop called Brass Tacks in Houston, Texas. This is the shop right here. It's so cute. Sorry for the video looking a little crooked and stuff. I was trying to like record in secret, so it's looking a little crazy. But yes, I love this place. If you're in Houston, check it out. During today's study session, I primarily focused on reviewing material that is produced in the Therapist Development Center exam prep program. This program is pretty popular among individuals who have taken the LMSW exam in the past. It is a well-reviewed program, and I honestly highly recommend using it, as it was the core material I relied on for preparing for exam day. I will go into more details about the TDC program later on in the video. Another thing that I did was watch YouTube videos to support me with studying. One of the main channels that I watched was Savvy Social Worker Exam Prep. As you can see, I watched a lot of her videos on her channel, and I definitely recommend because I love how she provides examples of questions as well as rationales, and I think she does a very good job of explaining how to think about answering the exam questions. I also watched a few other social work prep channels as well, and I'll provide all the info later in the video. The third main thing that I did was utilize flashcards. I'm someone that loves writing things down and seeing things in my own words and in my own handwriting. It helps me remember information a whole lot better. I created flashcards with information that I considered key concepts as well as my struggle areas. Having these allowed me to easily review specific things. I also found that having flashcards is super helpful when you're on the go and you have time in between your busy day to review for 10 or 15 minutes. In my opinion, flashcards are an easy tool to support you with memorization and even organization when you need to outline topics, concepts, and quick strategies. I originally scheduled my exam for May 8th, but after my last few study sessions and taking the ASWB practice exam and receiving a passing score, I felt like it would be a great idea to move my exam date up because I didn't want to overstudy and I didn't want to create a situation where I was becoming super anxious, so I decided to change my test date to May 1st. It's exam day. As a pro tip, I think it's really important to start your day off with positive energy, and of course get a good night's rest the night prior because that's very important as well. And basically just do what you need to do first thing in the morning to get yourself feeling confident and relaxed. Look at me trying to do my little edges. I ain't got no hair. I did a big chop and it's growing back. But anyway, back to the video. I love making tea. So that's what I do in the morning. Just get myself feeling relaxed and in the right space of mind. Okay, you guys, I just got to the piercing testing center. It is currently 7:30 on the dot, so they suggested you get here about 30 minutes before the exam starts, which is at 8 a.m. So I didn't have time to really go over anything, so I'm just gonna head straight inside, check in, and get ready to take this test. So I will not try to look at my results until I get out of the testing center and back in the car so I can record the reaction to what the paper says in regards to whether or not I passed or failed. And I'm speaking into existence that I'm going to pass, and I am going to be a licensed master social worker in the next 4 hours or less. So let's do it. Sorry, I know it's dark in here.
4 hours later.
Okay, you guys, so I just finished the exam. I'm in the car now, obviously, and I drove next door to the Starbucks parking lot because I was underneath the parking garage and it was super dark in there, so I wanted to make sure that you guys had adequate lighting to see me. How am I feeling right now? I'm feeling very nervous to look at this paper. I haven't looked at the paper yet. I'm not feeling like I know for sure if I pass. Like, it was so many questions on that test that I literally have no idea what they were asking. Like, it was so many macro level and policy development and evaluation questions on there, to where I was just like making my best guess on a lot of those questions. And I pretty much used all the time that was allotted for the exam. I think I finished answering all the questions, reviewing, and going over any unselected answer options within 3 hours and 50 minutes. So, and I was honestly going through the review period at the 3.5 hour mark, so I was kind of rushing through reviewing a lot of my answers. So that didn't make me feel really confident as I left the center, but it is what it is. I really tried my hardest, and now I'm about to look at this paper to see if I pass. So let's do it. No matter what happens, like, it's not a defining factor of my capabilities, and I'm just praying that I won't be hard on myself if it doesn't go the way I intended it to go or imagined it to go, but knowing everything will be okay. So here we go. I'm gonna open the paper. I haven't looked at it yet. See. Oh my god. I passed! Oh my gosh! Oh my god! Okay, so I only needed 98 correct answers to pass, and I got 108 right. I can't believe it! No way! Ah! Look at my picture. Ah! Where's the part that it says pass? I can't really see. Hold on. Y'all see this? Pass! Ah! I cannot believe it! I'm gonna be 100 with you guys. I really thought I failed. Like, I really thought I failed. God is so good. I give God all the glory. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Jesus. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna check in with you guys later because I'm about to call my dad and call my friends and stuff. And yes, I'll check in with you guys once I do all that. Oh my gosh, your girl's a licensed master social worker. Make sure you take time to celebrate your wins, guys. No matter how big or small, they're all important. And it's good to appreciate the work that you've done and give yourself a pat on the back, a high five, or a big hug. It's important because you deserve to be recognized for all that you do and all that you're doing and all that you will do. Oh, so you know how I said it's so important to celebrate your wins. Today is July 1st. It's been such a long time since I last recorded content for this video. I think the last I was recording was the first week of May. My hair is different. I got a little hang time. But yes, I'm actually heading to do a photo shoot. So I'm gonna take some pictures to celebrate getting my Lmsw and have some updated photos to put on my LinkedIn, the whole shebang. So your girl's feeling good today, and I'm gonna try and get some footage of the photo shoot when I'm there. And definitely check out my Instagram because I'm gonna upload the photos that I take today at some point, so definitely check that out. Put my Instagram on the screen. I'm really excited, so I'll see you guys at the photo shoot. So I'm back home now from my photo shoot. Y'all saw the behind the scenes footage. We'll see how the photos come out, okay? But I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys in more detail about what I did to prepare for the exam and some tips and things to keep in mind as you are gearing up to study, or as you are studying to pass your exam, or as you're thinking about getting your LMSW. Some time has passed since I've taken my exam, obviously, and your girl has got a job now. I haven't started yet. I'm supposed to be starting on July 10th, and that's in about a week. So basically, after I passed my exam, I hit the ground running with applying to specific jobs. There was a specific clientele that I wanted to work with in a specific setting, and I was very intentional about the applications that I submitted and the interviews that I accepted to go on. And all to say that everything worked out, and I'm gonna be starting a new role. I'm so excited to start, and I'm gonna go into more details about what that position is, where it's gonna be at, and all that jazz in my next upload. So stay tuned for that. But I just want to give y'all that little tidbit. Everything's coming together, y'all. Okay, so back to the exam. So I studied for approximately a month and a half straight, okay? And during the time that I was studying, I was not working. So the time frame for you to study may be different. And the amount of time that I studied every day varied from like a minimum of 3 hours to upward of 8 hours. Like I would go to Starbucks or a coffee shop and I would literally just sit there and study all morning and afternoon. But you may not have the schedule or the flexibility to just sit there and study for that long. Yeah, definitely just do what works for you. But that's what I did because I had the time to do it and I was ready to knock it out and get it out the way and get the ball rolling, because your girl had to make moves, all right? I was in a position to separate from my previous career and get back into social work. With that being said, I got my MSW in 2019 and I worked in the field for about like almost 2 years. And then I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. Quit, became a flight attendant, and now here I am because God was telling me that's your calling, that's what you're supposed to do. We need you in this field, you need to go back to this field, but let's do it in a way where you're gonna find more fulfillment. That is the hope, right? And I'm claiming that that's going to be the case. And so now that I have this credentialing and the opportunity to make more money and support myself better, I feel like a lot of stress will be alleviated in my personal life to where I can be more efficient and more present in the work that I'm doing once I'm in the office. I say all that to say that I did not get my license straight out of grad school. It's been about, I graduated in 2019. It's July 2023. 3 years and some change later, here I am taking the exam. If you have taken time since getting your master's because you may have not been ready to take your test, or you didn't think you want to get licensed and apprehensive of whether or not you can pass after so much time being elapsed since you graduated, you can do it. It was definitely scary at first because I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder how much I forgot or what material I'm not going to be able to understand or catch on as fast, but I did it and you can do it too. So I think like it just all starts with your mindset and telling yourself that you can do it, and not allowing your doubts or frustrations with some parts of the material, or if you don't get a good grade on a practice exam, to not give up on yourself, because as soon as you start being mentally defeated when test day comes, you probably won't pass because you have so much doubt and anxiety built up within yourself that you're not able to perform. And that doesn't mean that you don't know the material, or it doesn't mean that you can't catch on to the material. It's just that you have to break down those mental barriers first. So that is essential. So yeah, I studied for about a month and a half, and I primarily use the Therapist Development Center, as you guys saw me showcase a little bit during the vlog, but I couldn't really show you guys really an overview of the material because it is copywritten and I can get in a lot of trouble for showing you guys what's in the actual exam. But it is a program that is widely raved about. I feel like a lot of people talk about the Therapist Development Center because it is a reputable study material for this exam. It is on the pricey side, but I feel like it's worth it because it really is structured in a way to get you to think of how to take the exam. What do I mean by that? What I mean is how the questions are structured and how the questions forces you to analyze what's being asked of you, prepares you on how to think during the actual LMSW, ASWB the exam. More specifically, how the questions are formatted, and then it has audio, and then also it has breakdowns of the material. So it's someone that's definitely talking to you while you're reading the questions, while you're reading the rationales, that gets you to start thinking in a way of how you should be thinking on test day. And so I really love the program because of that reason. Now, I can be transparent in saying that I think a lot of the material kind of over prepares you for the test. And what I mean by that is a lot of the things that were in TDC was not on the exam. Like, it was a lot of things that I was studying that I didn't even see on the exam. And then there's some things that I felt like TDC touched on, but then I saw a lot more questions being asked about that topic that I didn't really see a lot on TDC. But because it over prepares you for the exam, you get a lot of bonus like questions that you probably wouldn't necessarily get through studying other materials, because it's so thorough. So I really recommend it, and although it's pricey, it's well worth it, because I think that that was the main driver for me passing the exam. I really love TDC because it's a very thorough program. They have audio, they have audio on there. There's things that you can print out. There's practice exams on there, and there's mock exams. The mock exams were so good and super helpful, and the questions that they asked and just the way that they're formatted, it was just chef kiss as far as how good that program is. Like, the lady that created it, props to her, because man, she did her thing with creating that program, and I really rave about it because it's just really awesome. So definitely recommend getting that. Another thing that I did, as you guys saw earlier in the video, is that I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and those were really helpful because I feel like I liked hearing different techniques and different ways to think about answering questions, and hearing other social workers' rationales for the answers that they chose. And so I feel like those were very helpful. I liked getting practice questions and different tricks to memorize certain things. I feel like RayTube gives really great examples of how to learn and memorize psychotropic medications, and knowing what mental health disorder matches that medication. It's a lot of medications that you have to know, and he does a good job of like coming up with different songs or acronyms to get your brain memorizing all the information in a more simplistic way. And so I felt like that was very helpful. So definitely check out those YouTube channels, because you can find different things that you can integrate into your study methods. I think maybe 2 days before I actually sat to take the actual exam, I paid for the ASW practice exam, which was $85, and I feel like that was very helpful because the format of the practice exam that you take at home is the same way that the real exam is going to look. I'm talking about from the graphics to the timer setup, and everything is pretty much the same. So when I went to take the exam on the actual exam day, I felt more comfortable because everything didn't seem foreign to me, other than obviously the questions are going to be different than what you see on the practice exam, but the format and how the selections are appearing on the screen, everything is the same. So I really recommend doing that, because I feel like it can definitely ease your test jitters, because you can kind of get used to the flow and the format of how things are going to look on the day that you take the real exam. One of the negatives I can say about the things I'm recommending as far as TDC and the ASWB practice exam is that, you know, they're pricey, and these things do add up, and it's not even considering the cost that you're going to have to take to pay for the actual exam and other things that you need to do for your application. So it can get pricey, but it's well worth it for sure. So if you have the money to invest into doing that, I definitely recommend doing so. But there's other videos that I found on YouTube of people who have passed their LMSW exam that didn't get TDC, and they use a lot of other study materials. So I definitely feel like there's ways that you can study, but you just gotta filter through finding reputable materials to support you during your studying. When there's a will, there's a way, right? So if you don't have the financial ability to pay for all the things that I'm recommending, by all means don't think that it's not possible to find adequate study materials for you to pass your exam, because I know that they're out there, okay? So of course, I want to share some tips that I feel like are key things to take away as you gear to study for the exam, is to Really focus on how to take the exam. Really hone in on what the question is specifically asking. Make sure you are thoroughly reading the question, because it can be one word in that question stem that can make all the difference of the answer that you select. So for example, like, what should the social worker do next, or what should the social worker do first? So those words are very important, because in the answer selection, all those answers you probably would do with working with the client, but you need to think of what you should do first, what's immediate, or what is the next thing that the social worker should do, depending on what the question is asking. So it's really important to know how to take the exam, is what I was saying before. Another tip is, even when you think you know the answer, like say you read a question and you're like, okay, A says this, and you're like, oh, I know for sure it's A, I'm gonna select this and move on to the next question. Don't do that. Read all the answer options, even if you think you're 100% sure, because you might be wrong, because they may have a better selection for you to choose if you read all the options. So that's definitely something that I would recommend doing as well. Another thing that you can do that's helpful is process of elimination. So like a lot of questions, when I was taking the exam, I would find 2 answers that I'm like, ooh, this could sound really good, so let me just physically like put a strike through the ones I know is for sure not in, and just visually, you know, crossing those out of my mind. I felt like it helped me with finding the best answer. And so when I would narrow it down, I would really try to work things through in my head, like actually work the scenario out in my head. If this client is sitting in front of me, what would I do, or what would my supervisor tell me to do? And I really feel like that helps as well, if you really like put yourself in that actual situation when you're doing the process of elimination. When I took the exam, I had a lot, when I say a lot of questions that were around macro level social work. And I can be honest and say that TDC didn't have a huge amount of material covering macro social work in the context of the way that the exam presented. So a lot of the things that they were asking me, I honestly have never seen before. However, having a general understanding of what it is, how it works, and then the way that problems and solutions are found within that level of social work is going to take you a long way. Also, I feel like having a good understanding of the code of ethics will help you process things in an easier manner, because you have a understanding of what things you should be considering when you're making decisions, and what is important when you're working with clients, communities, or organizations, right? When you already have that understanding of what is important, how people can be protected, and then what steps you need to take and in what order, it helps guide you on what selection that you should be leaning towards when you're getting questions that you're unfamiliar with, especially as it pertains to macro level social work, because a lot of times we're not really faced with those dilemmas or experiences when we are right out of grad school, because a lot of us are not working in that level of social work, so we don't have a lot of experience to pull from. So that would be definitely a tip that I would recommend, is knowing your code of ethics to help guide you during assessing those questions that are very unfamiliar to you. Another tip is to develop acronyms, like I kind of mentioned earlier, as it relates especially to psychotropic medications and different theories. I definitely utilize acronyms, and when you go into the exam, they give you like a paper and a marker that you can write things down. And so I already knew my acronyms in different terms to help me memorize certain things, and I immediately wrote those things down. So should I come across a question that's related to those acronyms during the exam, I can easily look over to the notes that I have to help trigger my memory as it relates to the question and the answers that are being presented to me. So that's definitely something that I encourage you to do. Also, as y'all saw earlier in the video, I utilize flashcards. They're super helpful, and it's something that I really recommend that you do while you're studying for the exam. Another thing that I can say that I really realized as I was preparing for the exam, with knowing how to take the test, is more important than knowing all the clinical things in depth. For example, the DSM-5 is extensive. The criteria for these diagnoses can be extensive, and so it's just important to have a general understanding of like what something is and how to apply it. But I feel like more importantly, the biggest thing is knowing how to think about answering the questions. And then of course you'll have a handful of recall questions where you have to know specifically what something is. Like for example, a medication, what specific diagnosis is this medication prescribed to treat? So obviously, you know, you can't get past that one. You either know it or you don't, but majority of the questions are going to be geared towards just having a general understanding and then just how to process answering the question, if that makes sense. So I definitely want to encourage you to, yes, study you know, diagnosis and study the general understanding of theories, but don't spend too much of your time trying to know it and trying to know every single bullet point, because every single bullet point is not going to be covered on the exam. They're not going to be asking you to know all the criteria of a mental health diagnosis. They're not going to be asking you, you know, when this theory was developed. They're not going to be asking all of that. But yes, have a general knowledge of it. When you're actually in a clinical setting and you're out practicing in the field, you're going to have your resources next to you. You're going to be able to pull your DSM-5 out and refer to it. That's what that resource is there for you to flip to it. You ain't gotta have it all ingrained in your head. So I definitely just encourage you to not spend so much time memorizing every component of every piece of content that you may find in your study materials. So yeah, honestly, that's pretty much it. But honestly, a lot of credit goes to God. I was definitely prayed up during the whole entire process of preparing to take my exam and all the way through exam day, and even after, you know, giving him all the glory. And so I really feel like being in the right space of mind really goes a long way. I cannot stress that enough. Like I said as well, I studied it for a month and a half, but I spent a lot of time every day pretty much studying. Now of course, like I wasn't just studying till my brain was fried. Like I said, I wasn't working, so I had a lot of free time, but I definitely took time to myself and had self-care in between my study sessions as needed. So I wasn't completely burnt out during that point of time of studying either. So I definitely want to say that as well. But yeah, overall, that's what I did, and I'm just so happy and just, oh wow, I'm a licensed master social worker. I feel like it still hasn't fully set in yet. It probably won't fully set in until I start my new job, and I am so excited about that. So that's pretty much it on how I passed my exam on the first try. But it's not about passing on the first try, it's just about passing, period. So if you are someone that is getting ready to take the exam, I'm wishing you all the best of luck. Someone that's watching and you're giving the exam another try after not passing before, I'm giving you all the encouragement in the world, because you can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. Don't give up on yourself, have faith, stay the course, just believe in yourself. If you believe, you can achieve. And I have every bit of faith that you can do it. If you have any questions or anything that you want me to elaborate on further, hit me up in the comment section below and I will get back to you. Follow me on Instagram. I'll pop it up on the screen. I love interacting with you guys on socials, so definitely hit your girl up if you want to see more insight of my day-to-day life. Subscribe to my channel or stay tuned if you're already a subscriber. So I'll definitely be looking forward to showing you guys how things go and just this new journey that I'm on. It's gonna be amazing, so definitely stick along for the ride. All right, so that's about it for this video. I just want to thank you so much and extend my gratitude for your support. Thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me, and I hope this video was helpful or encouraging in some capacity. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I hope you have a great remainder of your day and a blessed rest of your week. I'll see you on my next upload. Peace.